Hello. Hello. Let me know if everything works. If I have a little bit of a new setup. Audio should still be the same, but yeah, setup is a completely different one. I'm running on 2 computers now. Welcome. Sorry for being so late. I had people working on my kitchen all evening. So couldn't really interrupt them, and I really wanted that done, so yeah, that came first. Hello, audio is fine. Nice. Good to hear. Don, the match is still on. I'm not watching this World Cup. Well, is it World Cup? I don't know. Don't really care. Think it's, not a big fan of the whole politics behind it. So I'm just not gonna watch this one. Haven't consumed a single match. Will not consume any. Cred is doing a debate. Oh shit. Yeah, well, nothing I can do about it. Would be fun to listen in though. Just like I said, just got finished. I'm gonna keep this one a little bit shorter, maybe, possibly, probably, because it's getting late here in Germany. But yeah, we'll run through a few charts, see what's up. Overall, it's been a good week, huh? It's been a good week. It's been a few good weeks, actually. Like, we've been slowly but surely walking up. For the people... Oh shit, no chat with the cat today. I actually totally forgot. And I think so did the cat. But I actually want to chat with the cat. So I'll talk with him again, see what's up. But he's traveling, so no chat with the cat today. I must disappoint. I totally forgot in the middle of all of this. But yeah, we have a little bit to talk about, and then I cannot hang out too long anyway, so I'd rather have like a full hour with the cat instead of just like 20-30 minutes. So big week. I mean, it's been small weeks, but for the people that have been around, right, I talked about this for a few streams really. I like these hooks. I like them a lot. It's basically, you have the nuke, you have the walk up, you have the pop. Still dangerous here, right? But the moment you get the pop, we're safe. And macro bottom, at least for like a year, I think is in, which is quite nice, right? So like if you get an entry and it pops to the upside, you're safe. It's probably not gonna come back. If it doesn't pop, you just get the fuck out, basically where you got in, which is 16K, right? So I'm pretty chill. I've seen a few people freak out today. I mean, it's always the case. But like what you want to be seeing, right, and what you want to be kind of noticing in these kind of environments is that Bitcoin's down 0.2%, and the S&P is almost down percent. That's the stuff that you want to see, especially when the market looks like this. So yeah, I mean, I'm still very chill. I still think like this just looks like upside to me. I am positive, still holding all the altcoin trades that I've been putting on. Still the same, like nothing's changed on those fronts. Like I think Litecoin's basically a flat week. Bitcoin's had a little bit of a green week, but this is tiny, so like I don't really care about the difference. And I do hold Bitcoin too, so. Aren't you expecting GBTC discount to narrow before bottoms in? It'd be one of the more obvious signals, yes. We don't have to, because GBTC at this point is under so much duress that it can just completely decouple from the market. When I said that I wanted to see the GBTC discount kind of shrink, I actually thought that there was a coming back. Now I'm not entirely sure anymore, right? I'm not entirely sure if GBTC is actually coming back at all. For the people that don't know, GBTC is a way to basically trade Bitcoin on the boomer markets, and it's trading at 50% discount. You can see it on the chart as well. We can quickly do that. Let me open it up. Look at that monthly chart trading below, basically trading below 2017 levels. This was 6K, right? This is the 6K equivalent. And it basically broke the level that it had back at 6K. So, you know, it's bad. And for me, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to come back. It could, but it isn't entirely certain, which makes my, okay, we're probably going to bottom when the GBTC thing narrows, makes it a little bit less needed for the market to bottom, right? Because if this just goes to zero, it cannot go to zero, but it can go pretty close, right? When people are just like, okay, I can never redeem my Bitcoin, this is just gonna drain me forever, then why would anyone be buying it, basically? But yeah, I mean, if this narrows, it's a really good look. Hasn't so far. It's been widening, and it's started to capitulate, as you can see here, right? So 30% here in October. Went to, well, like 35-ish, and then went to 40 in November, and is 50 now in December. So that's quite the move. But yeah, I'm just looking at Bitcoin. Monthly chart still hasn't changed, by the way. There's nothing there. But the weekly, like I said, that's the one that we want to be looking at. So far, the hook thing that I drew like a week or two ago is going exactly like I wanted it to. We just need it to do this for a little bit more. Like if this week closes like this, I'd already be happy. And then we just need another week pushing up, and then a pop would be nice. If that doesn't work out, right, and we go back to 16K, it starts looking really bad really fast. So this is basically the bottom fish for me. Like I'm fishing for bottom. It's what I usually tend to do. I don't really wait for confirmation. I just buy a good support when I see seller exhaustion come in. In this case, I was pretty certain 16K was going to hold, given how we reacted to bad news. So far, that's been a good bet. Now we're trading a little bit higher. And if we come back to my entry, I'd honestly be looking for an exit again. So any bounce, like if we crash to 16K, I'd probably look for an exit, even though, like I said, okay, long-term buys, whatever. But this is a structure that I don't want to see fail. I'm down to hold long-term if this is the bottom. If it's not, I'm obviously not. Why have you been so evil with CryptoCapo on Twitter? I mean, the guy basically bull posted this entire thing, like massively. He was like, I'm like, this is going to 200K, and then broke to 30K. And then he bear posted this, right? Which fair enough. But basically, I mean, the reason why I kind of tweeted like, hey, like put his tweets on a chart is basically because he's arguing that there's, or the way he tweets anyway, is like, okay, there's 100% gonna go down, and that's just not how trading works. Any decent trader is not gonna say this is 100% gonna go up or down. And especially on the downside, and especially the way he's been doing it, which has been like he's been saying, okay, 20K is going to be the bottom, then 18K is going to be the bottom, 16K is going to be the bottom. Like if you keep on moving down your targets, you like this is just something that you do when you're chasing cloud more than anything. It's not how you trade, in my opinion, anyway. But I don't really give a shit. I don't follow the guy. Just whenever I see a tweet of his, I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is not. This is not how you trade. But I really couldn't give less of a crap. Just having fun on Twitter. Anyway, like I said, weekly looks good. No problems there. The daily also looks really good, right? And we can draw a few support, resistance, whatever lines. So this here is technically the range, right? This is the inner range. This is the outer range. We had a false breakdown below the bottom of the range that led to the up move to the range high. And instead of resisting at range high, we actually had a pop above it, right? So right now we're trading above the range. And I'm hoping basically, and the reason why I'm still like holding on to all my trades and still holding on to everything basically is if you compare this, right, to this whole thing here, you could argue that this entire thing Obviously, I mean, not necessarily one-to-one, but this entire thing, like this fake out down here, is the same thing for this entire thing, right? So you have the big range here. Let's say this entire box here is the fake breakdown for this range. The moment we start trading back above 1920K, this would be the case, right? It would start looking like this. Basically, you have a range, you have a false breakdown, you come back into the range. That's one of the more bullish chart patterns that you can have. It's one of the things that I keep on like looking for in any kind of market. You have like a range, it breaks down, people start to short, people get bearish, whatever, and then it comes back up, squeezes those people out because the range was actually not bearish, but just like basically accumulation, but a slow one. And then you start squeezing people the fuck out. And if that was the case in this one, you would have to have targets above range high, which would be above 26K. And I would have them in the at least 30Ks, right? And that's why I'm holding on to my buys, because my 16K buys, they're not really in any danger right now. And I'm willing to give back some profits to basically have a chance of being on board if this happens, right? And I don't want to wake up to a massive green candle into the 20Ks and then I have to think, okay, am I going to buy 20K? If I didn't have a position, I would. But I just much rather, and I mean, in this case, it's worked out pretty well for me. I bought around 16K, so I can be pretty chill, right? If it comes back to 16K, there's a good chance I get to sell in that area. If it doesn't come back, I have a really good entry and I don't have to think about it too much. So that's kind of the plan, hoping that basically this false breakdown is like a massive, like this entire range is basically a false breakdown. And right now we're trading above the range. We're trading above the range, right below the other range. So this is the range that we want to get back into. This is the range that we've been trading into. We just broke out of it. If we come back into it, it starts looking shit real fast. So we kind of have to hope that this, at least this daily candle, this green one that you can see in here, this one, that this holds, right? You don't want to be trading anywhere below it. That starts looking really fishy. But as long as it does, I'm going to be hyper bullish. Just makes sense to me. I mean, I have the entry. I have said this way too many times, but is what it is. It's my stream. I can say whatever the fuck I want to. But yeah, I have the entry to kind of risk it. And I think it's a good risk to reward setup because the reward is massive while the risk is quite tiny. Duck too scared right now? Yeah, I'm shaking in my boots. It's terrifying. How can I listen to Fed Spaces and duck at the same time? I don't know. You can just watch this as a video. The only reason why I'm doing it right now is because I know that I cannot do it later and I would not do it tomorrow. So you'd have to wait another week for my thingy. But you can just watch it as a video later. Do you look at some kind of indicators or do you not care about it? I don't care about it. You can slap on any indicator. I can slap on it, I can slap on a bunch of bearish indicators. I can slap a bunch of bullish indicators on it and just make my mind up on those, but it doesn't really help me too much. Don, are you following the war in Ukraine? A little bit. Would an end to that be a bullish narrative? I mean, yes, of course. If that stops, we have a lot of the European problems solved, basically. But I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Are you looking at any FX trades these days? Not really, no. I had my FX trade. I had the Euro trade, which, I mean, I could have held on. I traded the Euro from in here all the way up to here, which was a nice trade, right? That was I don't quite remember how much it was, but almost 10%, whatever. Now it's at resistance, right? But if this smashes through, the Euro looks really, really good. It's the same setup, right? So range, you lose it. If you can come back into it and close above it, you just shoot for the moon. And I would be very bullish on this. But just give it some time on this one. 16 days to the close. I wouldn't want to rush it. But yeah, that's that. Don't really think there's too much interest in currency trades, given, I mean, like the euro's been pumping, right? And you look at Bitcoin Euro, and Bitcoin's been outperforming anyway. So I'm quite glad. Like I switched back into the Bitcoin basically at a pretty good time. So I'm making money there. Would you trade this market the same if you had a smaller dollar account? Meaning if your trades were just like 4,000 or something, would you be more frequent in your trades? It depends, but yes is the answer. I would trade more probably. Not necessarily. It's not better. It's just how people usually trade. If you're too impatient, basically, because it's hard to grow 4,000 into something by just trading slowly. The good thing is if you trade it slowly, you'll already have the right attitude. A lot of people trade like the 5-minute charts and then make like $1 million in a bull market, and then they give it all back because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Whereas people that trade like the higher time frame charts and trade properly, they might just turn 4,000 into 50. But they know how to trade and they're gonna be good for the next cycle, and then you can do a lot more with 50,000 than you can with 4. And the person that made $1 million somewhere in between probably just loses more and more and more. It's just a gambling mindset basically. But I mean, I used to trade more as well, so I cannot hate. I got decently lucky with it, and then I have a little bit of a knack for it, but I don't think it's the best thing to recommend anyone. Sol is outperforming, yes. I mean, Sol went to shit and is now trading a little bit to the upside, whereas everything else is trading down. But this is not, I mean, this is just something that went down 50% and is barely bouncing. Like, the people are like, oh, Sol is outperforming. No, not really. It's just reclaiming some of the stuff that it's lost. I wouldn't take this for strength. Not necessarily. Still think Sol could recover faster due to venture capitalist money? No. I think that edge has been given away, given all the bigger money just basically got liquidated with FTX. So, not really. If anything, you want to have the ETH play right now on Sol. Right? Basically say, okay, Sol is going to bottom somewhere, and it's used a lot, so it's an interesting bet, but I would not want to bet on the VCs are coming in for Solana. It's a little bit tainted on that front. But yeah, sorry for being all over the place. Let's run through with Bitcoin, finish it, and then go to ETH, and then we can talk about all of this stuff. Anyway, we're trading above the range. It's an interesting spot, right? If we come back into the range above it, it starts looking really good. If we come back into the range below it, it starts looking really shitty. But something that I like to say is that you should be treating breakouts as if they were breakouts and breakdowns as if they were breakdowns until proven otherwise, most of the time, right? So in this case, I would assume, and I will assume, that this is a breakout, a genuine one, until it's proven that it's not. So I will hold on, see how it develops. But yeah, it's just easy from here on out. If it comes back, that starts looking really shitty. Doesn't have to mean that we make new lows, but it's just the trade setup itself just kind of starts falling apart. If it comes back up, it starts looking fucking amazing, better than it has in years. And I would expect a massive rally, right? So that's kind of where we are right now. Big week indeed, as someone said in the chat. So yeah. To ETH. ETH looks really good as well. It's been holding support on the monthly time frame and hasn't made new lows, which is a good sign for anyone that has holding ETH, because that's just relative strength. I don't subscribe to the lag factor. If it's like, if Bitcoin breaks down and this breaks down, I wouldn't say it's lag. It's just, I mean, they're correlated. So yeah, but this would be too much for like a lag kind of argument, in my opinion. So ETH is just showing strength here by holding the lows. And on the weekly time frame, starts looking really interesting, right? Because there's only really one interesting resistance, and it's the one that we're pushing into right now. So it's the same really for ETH, but the resistance is really close. Like in comparison to Bitcoin, the resistance is really close. The moment we start closing above 1.35-ish, there's not really that much for ETH to do other than go up, because I mean, there's these highs, right? You could argue, hey, there's like the trend line, whatever. I think that's gonna get smoked on the next touch, right? So even if it goes up, like let's say this goes up, it would go down and then just smoke right through it, and then I mean, this just looks good, right? But it's at resistance right now, so you're basically in this shitty situation where you don't want to be buying into resistance, but it looks really good. Made a higher low here as well. So far so good. And on the daily time frame, same kind of story. I talked about this resistance a week or two ago. I was like, with this many touches, it's bound to break. It has broken. And it just needs to push a little bit to look really, really good. It's the same as Bitcoin though. If we start closing back below 1.2K, as in if we start losing this consolidation, anything in here starts looking really shitty, because then you would expect this to make new lows. Then it would just fall off. But I think the more likely scenario is that it rounds out and actually just goes up. So ETH looks good to me. I'll assume it's going to go up until I'm proven otherwise, and then I will sell. Will care to define massive rally on Bitcoin? 30K, as in like a double, if not more. Like I think my 30K would be my conservative target, basically. As in, if you break this resistance, I think we're gonna rally all the way up here, 32. And then I could see us get rejected, and then maybe range. I think that's a massive rally. I mean, it's from the bottom to the top. I think that justifies massive rally, kind of like calling it a massive rally, like a double. Pretty good in these kind of market conditions. And that's, I mean, it's good enough for me. I don't really know what your criteria for massive rally are, but I mean, for me, a double on an asset as large as Bitcoin is pretty big. So, yeah. But yeah, so ETH looks good, and ETH BTC still looks pretty damn strong to me. Like all Bitcoin pairs basically have been struggling a little bit. ETH BTC has not seen much of it. It's down 1% against Bitcoin today. That's not really anything noteworthy, right? For example, Litecoin, one of my favorites, down 2% against Bitcoin 2.5. And XRP is down 3, Link is down 3, Uni is down 2, and those are all coins that are interesting on the Bitcoin pairs, right? Dogecoin is down 3.3. So ETH is showing some relative strength there against the others, but it's also not been going up as much. So take it with a grain of salt. But to me, right? To me, this is clearly gravitating towards the resistance up here, which is a good sign. So I'm carefully bullish ETH, but yeah, I mean, there's a chance it just goes sideways, but that'd be fine by me as long as Bitcoin goes up. Binance FUD over. Binance FUD never really began. Binance, like the people at Binance, especially CZ, just kind of do like some dumb shit from time to time, where you're like, there's just morons. Like they're just morons running this. Excuse my language, but from what, like so far anyway, they've been around now for a while, and but still, like whenever something like this happens, you obviously want to be one of the guys that just goes to another exchange. You don't want to risk it. But yeah, Binance would surprise me. I think FTX surprised the shit out of me. I got completely blindsided. But honestly, Binance would surprise me even more. And I don't think it make any sense. The way they've been acting wouldn't make much sense if they actually didn't have the money. And they have large positions large wallets that you can check on chain. So it's not like FTX in the dying hours where they were scrambling for $100 here and $100 there. For those still trading NFTs, they are moving up nicely. Yes, I've been noticing. I hoped that we would get coins moving up into NFTs. So far, that's not been the case because I wanted to buy NFTs again just after the coins. So far, they've kind of been moving up together, which is annoying. Would much rather have them be separate from each other. What new funds would drive a 2x rally on Bitcoin with macros so precarious? I mean, Bitcoin went down 77%. A 2x would take it. So a 2x would take it where it's down more than 50%. You had a 2x here and it still went down a shitload afterwards. You don't need funds where this shit just fucking nuked 80%. It can easily double without any big money. It's just a bunch of people need to buy back in. You have just check on how much fucking stable coins we have in the market. Just need a little bit of FOMO and you can double this thing easily. Doesn't have to be a big change of anything. Where do you check NFT prices? Ledger Status has flip metrics. Flip's pretty good. There's a bunch of avenues. OpenSea obviously also works, but I like Flip better. There's a few, but yeah. Don, can we look at some altcoin ETH pairs thinking a macro bottom? Ask Ledger on Monday for this. I don't really care about the altcoin ETH pairs too much. I'm a little bit worried that any altcoin I buy is going to be outperformed by ETH, but it's not enough for me to check the ETH pairs. I don't think ETH is as relevant yet, or enough, has enough relevance. Low time frame wise for Bitcoin, someone asked in the chat, that's why I'm going through it. Has been very clean as well. You see the range here, right? You have this descending triangle. We talked about it back in the day. False breakdown into recovery usually means good things. It did. We had a false breakdown here again. Usually means a good thing. It did. So now if this is a false breakout, it means a bad thing because then you'd expect prices to go lower. But given that every single fake out on the way up has been bullish in the end, you wouldn't necessarily expect this to be bearish. So it makes more sense, at least low time frame wise, to just kind of let this either develop and show you that it's bearish or expect it's bullish. Laughing my ass off, Capo targeting $77 for BNB. Yeah, that's just the stuff that people do that don't trade. It's the same really, if you trade the FTT, right, and you shorted it and you're I'm shorting FTT, the only real good avenue that you could short it at was FTX, and then you don't make any money. No one, it's the same as saying I'm shorting Bitcoin to $100. You're stupid. Because you cannot short it to 100 because the avenue on which you short it is going to go to 0. So no matter how much money you make, it's completely meaningless because you cannot take it out. Anyone that trades doesn't say this kind of garbage. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to talk about it. I'm kind of getting sick of the people. Kind of just say stuff, but don't actually trade. It's annoying as fuck. So yeah, ETH, like I said, looks good to me. It's struggling, right? And this is because of the upside of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's so strong that it's sucking some liquidity out of altcoins. That's a normal thing. It's a good thing, right? This is why you have some Bitcoin. You don't want to just have 100% in an altcoin and then see a Bitcoin rally. Like you're 100% in altcoins, in alts, and then Bitcoin rallies 50% and your altcoin doesn't move and you just shit yourself. This is why you don't do this, because you're not going to have any fun and you're going to capitulate your altcoin right before it actually goes up. So what you want to have is you have a bunch of Bitcoin and some altcoins, and then you can kind of shift in between. Like your altcoins go up for 5x, you probably want to take some profit into Bitcoin, or you see an altcoin window that you can take advantage of. You shift some of your Bitcoin into your altcoins. You don't want to ever be all in altcoins. If anything, you want to be all in Bitcoin, so you can shift some money into altcoins, not the other way around. Do you smoke weed while trading? No, I don't smoke weed at all. So, Litecoin, right? Litecoin's been struggling a little bit. Like I've seen a bunch of people tagging me into like Litecoin tweets. Litecoin, like being like, oh, Litecoin's going down. This is what I'm looking at, right? Looks like a really good place to buy. I mean, I'm in for much lower, so I don't really give a shit. But if I sold the recent rally, which I wish I did, I was busy. But if I did sell this, I'd rebuy here, right? Just given that we had weekly support. This looks like a really strong rally still. So I'm still very chill. Don't really see any reason why people are freaking out. This is basically a shift in market structure, right? We broke the macro range to the downside. I mean, it's getting old, right? But you get the point. You have a macro range, you break it, you come back up. What does that mean? That means you want to be targeting the range high, right? Doesn't really matter if it's a monthly or weekly chart. So, I mean, this is just like, I'm just chilling on this. I have other coins. I have Bitcoin, I have ETH. So I'm not relying on this performing, but like when I see this chart, I just have to have it. And I'm not going to change my mind every 5-minute candle, just based on the fact that something doesn't go my way like all the time. It's just like, just give it some time, like see how this develops. I'm holding it. I don't have any big concerns. This is perfectly in line with what I would expect. I mean, it basically hit Bitcoin resistance, right? Retracing a little bit, still looks atrocious, like completely insanely strong to me. And this is basically the first support. And it's not, you can barely see these red candles in the sea of green. And on the USD pair, you don't even have a red candle. You just have sideways after a breakout in the middle of nowhere, which is a good news, right? So when you have a breakout and you go sideways here, it's much more bullish than retesting the range, because if you retest the range, people are not bullish enough to buy while it was going up, like, or keep buying basically. They're just like, okay, this is a trade setup, and then what usually happens is something like this. Rather not have it retest the range. If it retests 60, I'd start getting worried on the USD pair, right? But it's not doing that. It's just in the middle of nowhere. Nothing's changed for me anyway. So I'm just holding it. I'm holding my Litecoin. I'm holding my ETH. I'm holding my Bitcoin. Do you look at funding or OI? Yes, but given I trade spot now, I don't have to worry about it too much. If I see a macro setup, I'm gonna trade the macro setup. And I don't have to worry about bleeding out of my ass in funding, because for the people that still remember, back in the day, I bought ETH down here, like literally the Pico bottom basically on leverage. And I had to take profits in the 200s. Like I bought it at 84 on BitMEX, 84 point something, which is, I mean, on Binance, I don't even know if it went this low on Binance. I did. But I basically bought it at 84, which is quite low, as you can see. And I had to sell it at some point. I think I sold it at 200. It's quite a while ago because of funding. Like I was just paying like stupid amounts. I still remember the BitMEX funding to be horrendous on ETH. So I paid a couple Bitcoin in funding on the way up. Didn't like it. And it's not because like I had to pay a lot of my winnings a bit like in funding. It's just like you just don't know how long this is gonna take. And if I held, right, it was perfect entry. It got retested once on the COVID crash, but if I held it, I'd be like stupidly rich if I didn't have to pay funding. But you never know how long this can go sideways, right? So I had to close it. Nowadays I'm just trading spot, so I don't have to worry about it too much. So I could have held this if I just traded this spot back in the day, but I was less patient back then. Do most people draw ranges the same way? I actually don't know how other people draw ranges. I don't really consume other people's media. I just do my things. Like the only trader that I really see and discuss often with is Cred. Everyone else, like when people have something that points my direction, I'm like, oh, this is cool, nice. If people have something that points the other way, I'm like, well, doesn't really change anything I see. Why spot? Why not 5x? Is leaving money on the table. Oh, my sweet, sweet summer child. Anyway, that's that. I think those are the most important one. XRP looks interesting to me still, but like I'm really thinking about buying XRP again because I like it, but it's pretty hard to like sell Bitcoin for it right now. And I don't want to put new money in, so I would have to shift some Bitcoin into XRP, and that is not necessarily something I feel like doing right now. It's just not. Anyway, it's one of the interesting ones as well. I think that's going to turn out pretty good. I hope that one of my other altcoins, like be it ETH or Litecoin, moons, so I can shift into XRP. That's the plan for now. Like just wait, which is boring, right? And I mean, you could be sitting here looking at the 5 minute, be like, oh shit, there's a red candle, sell, 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 and then you're like, oh shit, there's a green candle, buy, 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 buy. But I don't have time for that, and I mean, I don't have the wallet for it because you'd be losing a shitload of money if you trade it that way. I mean, the S&P had a little bit of volatility, Bitcoin had a little bit of volatility. It's just how it goes. But all in all, like this is kind of crazy how strong it is, right? The daily is green on Bitcoin, and it's clearly red on the S&P. And we have been, in general, been moving quite well. Like last week's been red on the S&P. It's been non-existent on Bitcoin, so we kind of didn't take part in the downside. And this week, the S&P is not really doing too much, whereas Bitcoin is just making new highs. So quite nice. Quite nice. Anyway, I think that's more than enough for today because it's getting late and I don't want to keep my missus waiting for too long. Decoupling, I wouldn't call it decoupling yet. It's just relative strength, which just means that Bitcoin's the better buy than the S&P right now, which I've been saying all the way down that Bitcoin's a shit buy in comparison to the S&P. I think now it's a better buy. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming by. I hope it helped. I mean, it was just like a little bit of a short one, but it's been a long day and yeah, I cannot do anything about it. Just sometimes stuff takes longer. But I'll be back on Friday with Cred. We'll talk some shit, like always. Let's hope the weekly looks even better at that point. But honestly, like this, I'm quite happy with it. Quick kind of me retelling what I just said in the stream is basically you don't want to be going back into this range here. Anything in here starts looking like a little bit shitty. Anything up here looks really fucking good, and then just fucking send it bull market. Obviously not bull market, but like 30K seems pretty reasonable at that point. So I think that's the gist of it. I'm still holding all my shit. Obviously, it would have been nice like trading it around a little bit more, but that's just too much mental capital for me. I don't want to be sitting there giving away good entries just to make a little bit more. Just not really worth it. So yeah, thanks for coming by. We'll see each other Friday if you wanna. If not, also okay. And yeah, have a nice evening, nice day, nice morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. And yeah, talk soon. Bye bye.